Sales is a game of highs and lows, but the best salespeople know how to keep their pipeline full, no matter the season. In this episode of Two Tall Guys Talking Sales, Kevin Lawson and Sean O'Shaughnessey reveal potent strategies to avoid the dreaded sales roller coaster and keep your funnel flowing all year long. You'll discover free tools that can help you build a targeted prospect list and learn why networking within a company, before reaching out to the decision maker, can be the key to closing bigger deals. Plus, don't miss their simple yet game-changing circle exercise that will help you map out exactly how to hit your sales quota. Stick around, because these insights could be the difference between feast and famine in your sales career.
Two things happen in every salesperson's life, in every salesperson's career: ups and downs. Today, we want to talk about when you're down, how to get up, and then when you're up, how you get an extension on your lead. So we're talking about building the top of the funnel today, because you can't build your sales until you build your leads. There's no way to mathematically have $1 million in revenue if you don't at least have $1 million in leads. And that's assuming you close 100% of them. So Sean, we're back here. It's early in Q1. And so we're going to talk about today how we think about going to market. Now, this is less tactical and more strategic. So for all you listening out there, we're not going to talk about, hey, you need to network in 5 groups. We're going to talk about what are you doing that's going to help build your top of your funnel, as well as support all the parts of your sales process. Sean, good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you, Kevin. Yeah, it's the beginning of the year. Some people drained the swamp. That's what I like to call it. When at the end, when you're in Q4 and you went and anything that was moving, you slayed, right? There's no more water in the swamp. You literally took everything out. You got back in January and, oh my goodness, I don't have anything going on, because if it was moving, it was a deal. I closed it. And good for you if you're in that situation. That means you probably had a pretty good 2024. Now it's 2025. And you're trying to figure out, what am I going to do? And we've all heard of the salesperson going through the roller coaster. You were talking about up and down, the roller coaster of sales, where you're going up and things are great. You're fantastic and you're doing all the closing, and oh my goodness, I forgot to prospect. And so the revenue goes back down again and you're in panic mode. And now you're trying to figure out how to find it. So you're absolutely right, Kevin. We got to figure out what's out there. If I go back to my drain the swamp analogy, you got to put water back in the swamp. You got to let it rain. Got to make it rain. So here we go. So the first thing to do is to figure out, well, again, if you haven't done this already, maybe you're a brand new salesperson. Who do I look for? What's my target customer? What's my ideal customer profile? If you had a great 2024, and you probably know what that is, you probably know who that is. So the first thing I would do, if you are an existing salesperson with a great 2024 behind you, you drain the swamp, go back to all those customers. How are they doing? Go back to every one of them and just touch base. Just make sure they're happy. Make sure they don't need another one. Let's do that fast. Let's pay attention to that right now, because they might need one more, because they only bought 3 and they need 4. They only bought 10, they need 11. They only bought 1,000, they need 1,010. So let's go back and find those deals. So first thing to do, go say thank you real quick. Now that you've done that, now we got to figure out who else we're going to find. So one of the tools that I like to suggest, and I'm going to get real detail here, right down in the weeds. One of the tools I like to suggest is going to your local library and check out their online section. And if you are in most cities, not every city in the US, struggle more once you get to Canada or Mexico, but it's still possible. You might be able to get access to a tool called Data Axle. So Data Axle, massive business database of companies sorted by every kind of industry that you can think of. Go build out your list. Go figure out who's in the area, who's in your territory, who's in the state you call on, whatever. It's a free resource. It's got, I don't know the right number. Don't quote me. You can put it in the comments if you want to at the end of this podcast. It's got something like 18 million companies in their database. So you look it up, put it in the comments, tell me it's only 17.6, and I'll be happy. But you go out there, talk to your librarian, sign up for a library card, get access to it, and you're going to love this tool. Data Axle, 18 million companies out there, sorted by whatever industries make sense, your geography, your SIC codes that you want to go after, and boom, you have a massive list of companies. You can also do similar things by go sign up for Apollo. You can do a free account. Did you know this, Kevin? You can do a free account on Apollo. It gives you 10,000 people a month. It's free, absolutely free. Go find it, go log in, make an account. You can do it on your personal level. You have to get your business address in there, your business email address. Can't do Gmail or Yahoo, but there you go, 10,000. So you can easily find lots and lots of companies. That's not the problem. They can be inside your ideal customer profile. They can be just like that best customer that you closed. Just ask your boss if you don't know what your ideal client profile is. And if you absolutely can't get that answer from your boss, then give us a call and we'll see if we can help you figure that out as well. But Kevin, now I got my list. I got my 10,000 people. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to hunt. What do I do now?
It's the problem we all have, right? Now we got paralysis because 10,000 is a lot. But let's pan out for a second. So we've got a list of leads, potentials, but we've got to get that.
We have a list of names.
I call those leads as opposed to prospects. Lead is a data point in my mind. So that's name, phone number, email address, maybe a title. So yes, we have a database of sorts. But let's pan back out and let's think about, okay, what does my sales projection look like? How many of those do I actually need to engage? So simple exercise, I draw a circle on a paper and I say, what percentage of my sales should come from last year's or existing customers? Just percentage. So if I've got a quota of $1 million and I think 75% of it's going to come from last year's customers, I only need to focus on 250,000 of net new clients. And if it's $10,000 a deal, now I can do simple math and know how many customers I need to acquire, right? So now I can go, okay, of that list, that database, who has the most potential? So now I'll force rank based on my ideal client profile. Now we're starting to get to how are we making this witch's brew of sorts here? What are we stirring together to make sure we make our quota? So if that number is a lot closer to zero, maybe only 10% is going to come from last year to this year. Now we've got a different marketing need. So as a salesperson or a sales leader, when you're thinking about your go-to market for this year, not a go-to market for a specific product, but how are you personally going to go out into the market kind of approach, you've got to understand how much is existing business, how much is net new business. If you're in a products category or a distributor category, hey, how much of this stuff am I shipping out of my stock? How much do I need to add services to, value add? Is this going to be a custom built scenario? Am I going to drop ship stuff from other locations to my customer? What is the sales process? And figure out, maybe draw that same circle again and say, if it's 75% from last year's customers, I know who I'm dealing with. What's my call plan for this year to make sure I see my A, B, C, and D customers ranked by potential, ranked by sales, however you're ranking them. And then how am I managing my time? So much of a salesperson's challenge is time management because we have lots of competing priorities. So when you as a salesperson, if you're a salesperson out there that maybe doesn't have a sales leader or you're new to a territory and you're just trying to get grounded, let's take a breath. It's early enough in the year to where we can make a plan for ourselves to go be successful. What's my client list? What's my prospect list? Which of those prospects best fit our ideal client profile? Which ones have the highest potential? Which ones am I already connected to? Let's start breaking down the relationship before we go try and sell features and benefits. Let's figure out what value we're selling in the customer or prospect's terms so that we can back that up to what am I going to do today to communicate that value? And how do I expect that value to be received? And what do I want as a first interaction with a net new prospect? And again, if I'm heavy on the existing business, hey, what's my relationship plan to defend the castle, so to speak? If you own business, meaning you have a contractor you're spec'd in on somebody's business, let's make sure we, as a new salesperson, know those decision makers, thank them for their business, and really drop our products at the door and get to know their business. They bought from somebody else. It's our job not to screw it up. Right? We have to go get to know them and understand what their needs are and then serve those needs. So, Sean, how would you edit that?
So I love everything you just said. My biggest advice that I give to people when they are reaching out and talking to a new prospective client. So if I go back to Kevin's circle, that very first circle he talked about, and we're going to make up the assumption that the number of deals that you need in a year, you divided it out, you need 25% to get from new customers. You got to grow your business by 25% this year or whatever. You now are starting to talk to new customers. You figured out who your ideal client profile is. You tried to reach out. The first thing I want to tell you right now, before I step back and tell you how to get in touch with them and how to get in front of them, is when you have the conversation, you need to be curious. So there is a really old, great movie, got like 8 Oscar Award winners, called Glengarry Glen Ross. It's a great movie. I don't want any salesperson to actually watch it though, simply because that's not how you do sales. And in that movie, coffee was for closers. I'm actually drinking coffee right now, so I must be a closer. Coffee is for closers, but it always said, always be closing. So neither one of those two things are true. If you like tea, you can still close a deal. And you shouldn't always be closing. You should always be curious. You need to have a massive amount of curious about the customer you're going to go see. You should plan ahead and try to understand more about that company before you walk in the door the first time. Once you figured out that you need to go to call on that company, and now you're trying to figure out, how do I get in? You should be so curious about that company that you should have 3, 5, 10 people that are probably not in your organization, but might be, definitely not in their organization, that know something about that company. And you go and you reach out to them. You go talk to George, you go talk to Darren, you go talk to Ralph. You say, I think you said you did business with that company in the past. Tell me about the company. Don't even ask them for a referral. Tell me about the company first. Let me know what they do. Who's in charge? How do they make decisions? Do you like the company? Do you do business with them on a regular basis? All kinds of questions you could ask. And then if you feel like this is a company I want to do business with, say, can you do a referral for me? Can you make an introduction to that guy? Yeah, I know he's not the guy that's going to buy my product. That's perfectly fine. But make an introduction for me. I'd like to go meet him. And then you go meet that person. It doesn't matter if they're not the person that would buy your product. Don't worry about that. You want to know more about the company. You want to show that you are a worthwhile partner to that company or potential partner. You want to be curious about them and you want to understand their business. You do 1 or 2 of those, and then you say to the 2 people that you've met now at that company, and you say, I really need to see the VP of marketing. I really need to see the VP of operations. Can you make an introduction to me? You don't want an introduction blind. When you walk into that meeting, you want it to be rock solid. You've got your information. You know all about the company, more about the company than the average employee knows about that company. And that's when you sit down and you have the meeting with the VP of marketing based on that introduction. And now you're ready to go. You're ready to talk to them about what's important to them, or at least ask them what's important to them. It doesn't go that fast. Isn't that easy? But Kevin, what did I do wrong? What did I miss? What do you think?
So I don't think you missed anything. I think what's really important, and for somebody out there in listener land, they should be thinking about, have I made enough connections? Am I well connected enough to support my sales growth quota or initiative? And too often, salespeople stop after the second or third introduction. They say, Holly, that introduction didn't go anywhere. And I think, Sean, you and I can talk about our W-2 life, or since we've owned our individual businesses, a lot of our engagements come from people we met years ago when the timing wasn't right, and now the time is. So an encouragement for all you salespeople out there, keep going. Don't stop networking. Don't stop qualifying the ideal client profile. Look for shifts in the market dynamic. You may think that this month the division manager is your best target, but after next month, you may realize, oh, shucks, the best way to get to that division manager who allocates budget for your service is actually connected to the engineer's referral or the product owner's referral, or procurement does a vendor scorecard that gets you to the top of the page. As we think through these things, it's your job as a salesperson or a sales leader to coach yourself or others on their path to yes. We're almost approaching our 15-minute time limit here. But if this information is valuable to you, or you want to dig a little bit deeper, Sean and I both have availability to talk to you one-on-one. We do a one-on-one individual coaching. You can find it on my website at lighthouseSalesAdvisors.com/store, where you can search Lighthouse Sales Advisors, work with me. It's a 45-minute time block where we can get a one-to-one meeting where I can help you dig in deeper on some of your sales challenges. Sean, with that, we're at 15 minutes.
I know, isn't that amazing? And one final thing, just to plug here, you cannot send an email to the president/owner/CEO of that prospect and expect that email to be read. I don't care how good you are at writing it, it's not going to be read. You are just a salesperson. If you need to sell to that very top person in the organization to make your deal happen, you need a referral, and you probably need a referral from somebody lower in the organization. Don't feel bad about spending time getting to know the crew, getting to know the group of people that are below that person, the other department heads that he or she has trust in. So therefore, they will introduce you up. So don't feel bad about networking within your customer before you get to the right person that can pull the trigger on that deal that's going to make it a fantastic, wonderful life for you. So we are at the end of our time. Kevin, thank you very much for your conversations, your thoughts. And hey, everybody, check us back next week, next Tuesday, 4:30, and listen to Two Tall Guys Talking Sales.
Wow. After that episode, are you ready to go make your quota? One of the biggest takeaways today was the power of networking within a company before going straight to the decision maker. Too many salespeople make the mistake of cold emailing a CEO and expecting a response, when the real key to getting that meeting is building trust with the people below them first. Sean shared a brilliant approach. Start by talking to industry contacts who know the company, then work your way in through referrals and internal connections. By the time you sit down with the real decision maker, you'll already have credibility and valuable insights to make your pitch more relevant and compelling. And don't forget today's significant actionable item, the circle exercise. If you want to hit your sales quota this year, you need a clear breakdown of where your revenue is coming from and how many deals you need to close. Taking just 30 minutes to map this out will give you focus, clarity, and a real strategy to work from. Do it today before the rush of business pushes it to the back of your mind. If you ever need help with sales, sales management, or growing your company, Sean and Kevin are here to help. You can find their contact information in the show notes. And while you're there, take a quick 10-question assessment to see how your sales team stacks up. And of course, make sure to subscribe to Two Tall Guys Talking Sales on your favorite podcast player so you never miss an episode. Until next Tuesday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, happy selling!